All right, welcome to the final Week Zero preview video for the New Year Six podcast. College football starts tomorrow. No college game day, no real high level festivities, but Week Zero is Week Zero. Still some exciting games to be had, exciting times to be had, and some fun games all around. So, for my final Week Zero preview video this week, I'm going to take a look at FIU at Louisiana Tech. So again, this is I think this is actually one of the only conference matchups of the day, which is kind of interesting. It's definitely that CUSA lifestyle up there. But interesting to see kind of how this comes together in Week Zero, and what both teams are going to have to showcase. There's so little TV competition from on this day. Maybe it gives us a better picture into these teams and maybe we would have had if they had started on week one. So I'm going to start off with FIU. Going to start off with the first team. We have the away team here, and really again what I'm looking for out of FIU in this game. Just help me understand what they're about. Is again, you look at some of these additions they made through the transfer portal, these roster changes. I'm looking at a guy like Travis Burke coming in on the offensive line, comes in from Gardner Webb, young kid ready to make a name for himself. And I want to see what he does as a starting this year. Looks like he's going to be starting on the left tackle, most important position on the offensive line. Very young offensive line, as a whole, especially from the center left. So, we could get some snaps quickly, and I'm really interested to see what type of impact he can make on the offensive line that was good last year. It was definitely upper half, in terms of all college football. So, I'm curious to see what type of impact he can have, what type of experience he brings, and, if he's ready to take on a big step like that, going from the FCS level to the FBS level. I don't know offhand. I don't think anyone here truly knows offhand until it kicks off tomorrow, but we'll find out for sure. So interested to see what Burke can do on the offensive line. There were a couple of players I could have picked, just that are scattered throughout that FIU has brought in, but he's the one that kind of highlights the most for me. He's the one I think has the most upside, the most opportunity. He's the youngest portal player that will be starting this week, and I think he's going to show us why. So I'm looking to see what Burke can do on the line this week. How he helps stabilize the line, especially knowing that the left side of it is younger and less experienced than the right side. On the general topic of the offensive line, like what I'm looking for out of FIU in general. Is protect the quarterback against Louisiana Tech. So, if Grayson James is going to be able to beat this Louisiana Tech defense, he can't have his face in the dirt all night. So, this O-line needs to be able to step up, deliver, protect their guy, let him go through his progressions, let him make the plays that need to be made, and then from there, FIU might have a shot at taking down Louisiana Tech. It's an offensive line last year that was 34th in the country in sacks allowed, which not too bad given the overall not good year that FIU had, and given the struggles that they had pretty much on every other side of the field. So I want to see FIU get at least good in one area, and the O-line is a great place to start. You can build around that. If the O-line is good, the QB can do something. You can establish a run game, and from there the offense may be able to get going. It's going to take some time to determine that. It's going to take some time to find out if the O-line is just as good as it was last year, and if Louisiana Tech can get through and get to the quarterback. We'll find that out in a few, tomorrow. But as far as I'm concerned, FIU needs to make that a priority, make that a strong suit, especially in Week Zero when theoretically all eyes are on them. So that's what I want to see out of FIU from that side. But what I want to see them improve in, compared to year over year, they got to get better in the red zone on offense. They were 130th in red zone offense last year. there were 131 teams in college football last year, or at the FBS level, so they were second to last. Um, there's not much worse you can do. So if they're down there, if they're inside the 20, they need to score. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. This needs to happen if FIU is going to win. If they're going to evolve in the conference and be potentially a contender in CUSA this year and beyond, they can't finish second to last in all of the FBS and red zone percentage. So I want to see FIU take their chances, by getting their chances. So get inside that point, make the moves you need to make, and then find a way to the end zone or find a way to take at least three. So FIU hasn't really done that in the past. They struggled with it last year, and they need to make a pretty big step forward this year if anything is going to change about this program. And Louisiana Tech is going to be the program to try it out against. So anything new that they come up with, anything new that they're working on, they have a great week 0 opponent to test it out on and see if it's see if it's working, see if it's worth it. So all right, but what I want to see out of Louisiana Tech, so what I want to see on their end, I'm just looking at the roster turnover again. I want to focus on this secondary. So this is the most interesting part of the roster to me, given the additions that have been made. It's a secondary last year that was, in terms of college football, they were average. They were 69th in passing defense last year, so right about the 50% mark. So not great, but not bad. Just what they need to get by. So, from that perspective, will they continue to meet that mark with these new players? I'm looking at guys like Miles Hurd coming in from Stephen and Boston. Looking at guys like DeMarcus Griffin Taylor coming in from Houston. If they can live up to that standard, they can live up to that expectation, Louisiana Tech may be able to take a step forward as a secondary this year. It's going to be interesting to see. They are seniors. It's a very seasoned secondary as a whole, very seasoned defense as a whole. So that's what I want to see. I want to see these guys come in, make the same impact that the DBs have been having last year and beyond. And again, I trust coaches to put their transfers in starting positions if they're ready. So I trust what Sonny Cumbie is doing out there. How he's going to put this defense together, and I'm looking to see these players make an immediate impact on that secondary and help them take a step against FIU. Other than that, looking at what Louisiana Tech did very well last year, they were a prolific passing offense. They were 32nd in college football in passing offense. So I want to see them attack FIU's secondary with an aggressive passing game. And interesting enough, quarterback is another position on this roster that has been impacted by the transfer portal. You get Hank Bachmeier coming down from Boise State to Louisiana Tech, ready to make a name for himself, or make a name for himself at his new campus or his new team. Clearly established guy up there at Boise. Just coaching changes and losing the starting job, that stuff happens. But he's a talented guy. He's someone that can make an immediate impact for Louisiana Tech. And it's an area of this offense that thrived last year, and I would expect to thrive this year. It is an air raid offense and very quarterback friendly, and I expect Bachmeier to fit like a glove. So if the talent is there, the scheme is there, all that needs to happen is the execution. So that's what I want to see against FIU. I want to see them throw the ball for 1,000,000 yards. I want to see them be a little bit more up tempo and pass heavy. But I think the pieces are there to make that happen. So I look at Bachmeier, I look to the scheme, I look to kind of see where Louisiana Tech can get that done. It's a passing defense for FIU last year that wasn't that good, so it's a recipe for success right in front of you if it works out. Where I want to see Louisiana Tech improve year over year is the rushing defense. Same like FIU. This rushing off or their red zone offense versus Louisiana Tech's red zone or rushing defense is, well, it's not. What's the opposite of an unstoppable force meets an unmovable object? It's basically that. Um, FIU's red zone offense was 130th. Louisiana Tech's rushing defense was 130th. So there aren't too many teams that were worse at rushing defense than Louisiana Tech. There was exactly one. There was one team that worse than you. So I look at that and I think you really can only go upwards. There's not a whole lot worse you can get as a D line. Um, the rushing attack of FIU last year was not good, so immediately gives you a chance to develop and improve and show yourself. So I think Louisiana Tech needs to put that together, especially knowing that FIU is not going to be the strongest school on their schedule. They're not going to be the top dog that they play all year. So if that D line can get established early in the season, they can gel and they can hit this FIU, running back and defense, running back and quarterback, quickly and early, the problems, at least temporarily, may be solved. And Louisiana Tech could win through that method if that's how they choose to pursue it. So that's what I'm looking for out of Louisiana Tech. Want to see how the secondary looks. I want to see that passing offense take off, and I want to see that rushing defense really show up against FIU because they were not there last year. So, all right, with that in mind, going to make an official prediction here. So, Louisiana Tech is the favorite. I think that makes sense if you know these two teams. From a fundamental point of view, FIU is historically at the bottom of CUSA. Louisiana Tech kind of floats somewhere in the middle. They have their down years, up years, all that fun stuff. But Louisiana Tech's the favorite. They're favored by 11.5, and the total is 58.5. Those are the odds that I was able to pull. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Louisiana Tech to win. So fairly calm week. I don't think it's a sign of things to come for college football, but I don't see a whole lot of upsets in week 0. I pick Louisiana Tech to win. I'm actually going to take FIU to cover the 11.5, and then hit the over on 58.5. So this final score prediction that I have in my model is Louisiana Tech 33, FIU 28. So 5-point win for Louisiana Tech, keeps it close, which I think is more of a showing of the defense isn't there yet. It shows that FIU is a little bit more composed than they were last year, which I think is potentially really nice for them. So looking at it from a betting perspective, that's a 5-point spread. So the bet there is FIU to cover on 11.5. I think it's going to be a pretty competitive game. 11.5 is not a super large spread, especially when you consider everything else going this week. I think it's the third or fourth largest, or third or fourth smallest spread. So kind of right in the middle. It's not 30.5 like San Jose State, USC. It's not 20.5 like Notre Dame. It's kind of just right in the middle there, which is kind of nice for both teams. Kind of shows that there is a talent advantage for Louisiana Tech. It's not insurmountable for FIU. So that's my prediction for FIU Louisiana Tech. No video tomorrow because we're watching football. Can't wait to see everything else going on across the country, all those great games. Not just across the country, we're overseas. We're in Ireland too tomorrow, aren't we? So let me know your thoughts on FIU Louisiana Tech. Let me know your thoughts on any of the games that are going to be played this week, regardless if I did a video or not. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. And we made it. We're done. And I'll see you Sunday with a recap of week 0 and a preview of week 1.